I specifically want to talk about the short story today, and I would like actually to start with a famous quotation by the famous African writer Chinua Achebe, where he says that to be human one must have a story, meaning that reading and studying short stories reflect our inner values, human values that everyone must have and understand.
I think is unique about the short story course is that the short stories that we study represent different historical periods, and they also are representative of different subgenres within the short story genre. Another very cool feature is that when we study a short story, we also study the school of thought within which this short story is authored. So, for instance, if we study a short story of Albert Camus, we also take some time to study the philosophy of absurdism and many other works that were authored within that philosophy.
Short story is a very interesting course because you get to express your own beliefs and thoughts about what's being discussed, and also you have the freedom to choose the genre that you will present. I chose fairy tales, for example, and I did that because I believe that fairy tales have their own messages and lessons and themes that we should consider as people who study literature.
I would like to mention that the short stories we discuss in the classroom teach us something about the self condition and the human condition of suffering and struggle. So students understand the relationship between themselves and the world that surrounds them.
The short story course is a very informative course, and it's actually really interesting. Personally, it introduced me to so many new works by writers I haven't got the chance to read to before. And also the way Dr.Mohammad Hamdan taught us this course, he introduced us to so many literary theories that to approach literature and to analyze it, and I think that's very important.
The short story course, we dealt with seven stories for different seven authors, which means that we dealt with seven mentalities. For example, we dealt with The Land of Sad Oranges for Ghassan Kanafani. We dealt with My Kinsman Major Molyneux for Nathaniel Hawthorne. Actually, the short story course taught me how to think differently, how to think out of the box. So now I'm confident, and I think that I can really think out of the box.
The short stories we read teach us something about the concept of power. Now, some stories are actually read as intensely personal and a communal experience, which means that they help develop a conceptual meaning, the learning individual and the community where he or she lives.
Short story course helps you to analyze different works of authors. It helps you to use your mind as a critic, as a reader. Moreover, it helps you to discover different genres from Gothic to Romance. Finally, it helps you and prepares you for later on courses like drama, like novel, and so on.
In short story course, I was able to link between author's real life and his literary work, which makes me understand better the purpose of each story. I choose to present Kafka's short story, The Judgment, because it has a deep link with Kafka's real life and the idea of the relationship between father and son, which reflects to Kafka's relationship with his father.
Is about Kafka himself and his father. Now he wrote this story about his relationship with his father, and there was a letter that he sent his father explaining how his treatment, his bad treatment, impacted his psyche in a bad way. So the story itself is parallel to Kafka's life and Kafka's relationship to his father. Now we wanted to explain this, to explain Kafka's life, to understand this story.
Why would Kafka choose titles for the stories like the Trial and Judgment? Is there a reason?
Kafka, throughout his life, believed that he was a failure.
Remember, he studied law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And
These are legal terminologies. Yes?
yeah, and his father wanted him to work in insurance while he wanted to work in writing. So he worked in insurance and law in the evening and wrote at night. So his father's judgment upon him drove him to think or believe that he was a big failure, to the point where he actually wanted to burn all his works after he died. So
You know,
the
Kafka as
judgment-
well. Kafka wanted to study to be
A writer.
a writer, a man
Yeah.
of literature. His father refused because his father thinks so.
Money.
Yes.
Exactly.
He actually wanted him to study law. And Kafka actually studied law. He got his PhD when he was 23 years old, but actually he shifted to writing later on. Yes. So perhaps, because also we have to understand that Kafka was a Zionist, but perhaps he was not a very obstinate political Zionist. He was more like a cultural Zionist, someone who believed that in the cultural welfare of the Jewish nation. Kafka himself actually wanted to come to Palestine and open a bookshop. You know, a bookshop?
Yes.
Yes. He believed that, for example, that the welfare of the Jews could be achieved through success in education, through projects in education and agriculture. Hence the word kibbutz. You know kibbutz?
Yes.
Kibbutzism, kibbutzat. Yes. Agricultural projects that would actually give a new successful life to the Jews in Europe, who have been since Hitler have been suffering from oppression. Yes, yes. So can we say that this work is Zionist?
Yeah, it could be. It could be your interpretation. Yeah, it has a point because, as we said, the father could stand for any other authority, and Israel is a kind of authority on the Palestinian society, on Palestine itself.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.